Got an 11B, System 11B MPU, and I've installed Whirlwind ROMs in it for the point of testing. You can see that the client has conveniently noted it has a missing display segment. What I found is it doesn't have a missing display segment, it has one that's locked on all the time. Now, display segments get turned on via grounding of the signal that comes into these three connectors at the top. The shorter one is a power connector, plus the ribbon cable that comes from the top of the MPU board. Now, I've done a little bit of research here, and that segment is known as segment A, B, C, D, and since it's on the lower display, it's known as D prime. Looking through the schematics, D prime goes out, and it's not indicated very well here, but if you looked at, well, let me scroll down to that and see if I can show you. Sorry about that. Oh, I gotta find the display schematics. Here we are. D prime goes to the board at J5 pin 5. Now I know that J5 pin 5 is fed from J3 on the CPU board here. So J3 pin 5 goes back to, let's see, that's PB3, so that's pin 13 on the 6821 designated U51. So I've marked these just so I don't have to count, but let me show you what pin 13 is doing. Is it's low. So it is pulling the signal low, which turns on that segment constantly. Adjacent pin, those are high, so those segments are turned off. Now, one thing I need to check before I pull this 6821 out, because it's kind of non-trivial to pull those out, is to make sure that PB3 is getting its signal D0123. So D3 is pin 30, and I have marked it also. This is the data bus that feeds the 6821, and you can see that's active, yet pin 13 is low. So this chip needs to come out. One of the nice things about these dumbass test boards is I can test it up here on the display panel itself and see that that signal is not toggling. This would be interesting. Let me get the display test running again, and we will see if this signal ever toggles as the display is being tested. And the answer is no. That signal is stuck low. I think it's a pretty clear-cut case that this chip needs to come out. Now, that strobing you see there now is an interaction with the fluorescent lights above the display panel, so I have to shade it. I'll be right back. When your desoldering equipment is clean and tuned up and working perfectly, getting 6821s out is just a little bit easier. I'm doing this one-handed, but this thing should practically fall out. All right, I gotta get another hand on it. So we've got it out cleanly, and now let's test it. And sure enough, that 6821 is kaput. Back on the bench with this System 11B MPU. It's a B because this area where the amp is not populated, and J15 is not populated. 11A's had this area populated, but it didn't have the connector for J15. 11N had everything populated, and 11C took out the whole sound section. All right, back to this one. I have replaced the 6821, installed a socket, and put a new 6821 in there. I also, while I was there, installed a socket where the RAM is, so that the individual, and this is a company that sent me this board, so they can decide if they want to install NVRAM in there. But I installed a 28-pin socket, making it possible to install a 6264 NVRAM instead of the 6116 that was here before. So put a 6264 in here, move this jumper from W5 to W6, and good to go. Also, things that I do to every System 11 board that comes in here is these two caps get replaced. If it's an 11A or N, I replace this cap and this cap. These are 3 power input caps I replace, and this 22 microfarad is in the reset section, and it sometimes causes the reset circuit to fail. So you and I are going to discover in real time whether or not I've fixed this problem. And it looks like it is, but let me reboot so that we can get off of the factory settings message. And that occurs because we don't have batteries installed, and I did not put an NVRAM in there. So let's get into test. And let's see, should I be hearing music right now? I should, but I'm not. Let me come back to that. Actually, why is that happening? Let me see. CPU, pot. Well, that was simple. Had the pot turned down all the way. Clear, all clear. So those are the correct sounds for Whirlwind. And now we get to the display test. You can see that that segment D prime is no longer locked on, and everything is working as it's supposed to. There's segment D came up on both of them.
Uh-oh, looks like rain.
Now, I have had Whirlwind ROMs, the older ROMs in the sound section, and they don't make that sound 7. Frustrated the heck out of me until I figured that out. Lamp matrix is operating correctly, and we can do individual lamps. Looks good. Let's do the solenoid test. I've got the wrong selection here. Looks like this board has some coil issues. Here's the special solenoids, and they are working properly. Let me let that go through one more time. Whirlwind tests a few coils via the sound overlay board, so we're back now. The AC select relay is not working correctly. Now, why would that be? That is solenoid 12 on Williams games of this vintage. So I've got solenoid 9 and solenoid 12 locked on. Those are on the Williams side here, on the Williams side, Q17 and Q8. So let's just take a quick look up here. Here's Q8, and I'm not sure. Yeah, somebody's replaced that. That's a different, that's a different type of tip 102. The other one here was Q17. Yeah, it's this one. Well, let's do a quick test here. Let me get the logic probe out. I can do this because I'm only driving these with 5 volts. We can see that the tab of that transistor is low, which means it's providing a path to ground for this solenoid. And the tab of the transistor for this one is also low, which means it's providing a path to ground for the AC select solenoid. Now, these other ones should all be high, and they are. So this transistor may have failed. This one may have failed. I'm going to have to put the phone down to diode test those transistors, and we'll see. Let's test the other stuff, which is switch edges. Here we go. All the switches are working. This can do a A side, C side selection, and it's not going to work because the C side solenoid, solenoid 12, is locked on. That's interesting. That's the first time I've had this happen. Testament to the test capability built into Victor's test boards. So let me put the phone down again and test those two tip 102s, and I'll be right back. Well, that could be a reason. Okay, rebooting, and you can see those solenoids are not locked on now that I have pushed that chip in. Let's get to the coil test. And golly, I'm having a bad day. More coffee required, I guess. Now this is operating as it's supposed to, with a green LED coming on and then a red one as it multiplexes between the A side and the C side. I'll let this go through the whole thing again. Special solenoids one more time. I'm going to chase those with the switch inputs for the special solenoids. Again, Whirlwind is upstairs now, utilizing the solenoid overlay board, which drives 5 additional coils with that overlay board, sound overlay board it's called, sorry. Interesting way to expand the coil capability of your game. Well, of Whirlwind. That's the only game that used that board. All right, so that is it. I already tested everything. Oh, let me go back to that C-side switch test. Let me scroll through audits and adjustments. I really should have like a portable battery I can put on here. I'll be right with you. My wife's going to the store, everybody. You excited?
I'm going to Target. Yep.
Well, she's going to Target.
Good.
It's still reporting an error. I might have something connected wrong here, because there's no reason for that to be reporting that error right now. Oh, I know why it's reporting the error. Come on. Come on, Chris. Get your act together. When it throws the relay over to the C side, it expects to see switch 12 turned on, and Victor's board makes an accommodation for switch 12, and somehow I had taken that connector off, and so it is working perfectly now. All right, well, that was a long, strange trip. In summary, no alkaline corrosion to abate, caps replaced, here, 6821 socketed and replaced, power header replaced, good to go. Thank you so much.